Now, as you all are aware about the male and the female reproductive system, so now we'll just focus on the fate of the egg which is produced in the ovary. See, as I've told you that since puberty, the egg formation starts. Since puberty. And what is puberty? We already discussed that puberty is an age when organism becomes sexually mature. Organism becomes sexually mature. That means males start producing sperms and females start producing eggs, or we can say that ovum. So this is actually puberty. So since puberty, the sperm formation and the egg formation starts in the humans. But we'll be coming here. See, this is a female reproductive tract. We know that. This is a female reproductive tract. We already discussed this also. So as I told you that egg is formed, egg starts forming in this ovary. There are many eggs which are forming in this ovary, and there are many eggs which are forming in this ovary. But out of all those eggs, only one egg gets mature in 1 month. And if it gets mature from this ovary in this given month, then the next egg will mature from this ovary. So that means egg maturation, you can say, occur, or the release of egg occur from an alternate ovary on monthly basis. So suppose we say that one egg develops here. Let's say that one egg develops here. So then what happened? This egg, then what is the fate of this egg? So whether it is going to get fertilized or whether it is not going to get fertilized, but this event will take place, that is the ovulation. So ovulation will occur. It is an independent of the fact that whether the fertilization is going to occur or not. So that means ovulation means release of egg from ovary into fallopian tube. This is going to happen. This is going to happen, and this process is occurring on the normal basis. It is independent that whether the fertilization is going to take place or not, but it is occurring on monthly basis. Like when the egg gets mature, it gets released into a fallopian tube, and this is called as ovulation. So what is ovulation? Ovulation is release of egg, matured egg, from ovary into fallopian tube. So this occurs on monthly basis, and you know that from the time of the ovulation, the thickening of uterine wall starts occurring. That means uterus, this is the uterine wall, uterus, and this uterine wall starts becoming thicker. So it starts from the day of the ovulation, from the day 1 of the ovulation. So it starts becoming thicker. So this is a normal process which occurs in the girls from the age of when it attains puberty, that is approximately 11 to 13 years of age. Now, the fate of ovum, that means the egg which is released in the fallopian tube, is that it may get fertilized or it remain unfertilized. Both the things can happen actually. So what happened, first we'll take the fertilization process. So let's say that the egg gets mature, and during that period, when the egg is in fallopian tube, at that period copulation take place. What is copulation? It is mating of male with female. It is mating of male and with female, and as a result what happens, sperms are released in the vaginal tract. Sperms are discharged into the vaginal tract, or you can say semen is being discharged in the vaginal tract. And the one secretion, that means one secretion of semen contain billions and trillions of sperm. But out of all those don't survive actually, because few of them are those which are actually incapable of moving, or they cannot show any motility movement, so they are not able to travel to a vaginal tract. Second thing can happen is that few are very immature, they are not fully developed, so they die. Many sperms on getting in touch with the vaginal tract, so the pH here is different, so they just cannot tolerate that pH and they die off. And there are certain which enters into vaginal tract, but they are not capable of moving. But so out of that, only few, you can say 1, 2 or 3 sperms are capable of traveling this tract and reaching here, the fallopian tube. And there also, you know that the sperm, like there is a head, so it has to lyse this ovum. It has to lyse this ovum. That means it has to lyse this wall of the ovum. So there are certain factors which should match with each other that you will be doing in the higher classes. So then only it is capable of fusing with the ovum. So let's say this is the lucky one. Let's say this is the lucky one sperm, which has everything which is desired in a sperm, which can actually fertilize an ovum. So what is going to happen? They are going to fuse here. So the next step what is going to occur is the fertilization. What is fertilization? It is fusion of sperm with egg to form zygote. And as a result, they will fuse and they will form a zygote. And I already told you that zygote is actually the first cell which is formed after fertilization. Then zygote becomes start developing. It grows bigger and bigger, and finally it gets shifted from the fallopian tube into the uterus, and here also it grows in size, and finally you know what happened, like it is growing in size, and finally it gets embedded in this thick wall. Let's say that this is the thickening of the uterine wall. As I told you, like from the time of the ovulation, the uterine wall starts becoming thicker. So this zygote starts developing, and the developing stages is called as the embryo. Developing stages are called as the embryo. So from the time of the fertilization to the 8 weeks, or you can say the time of the fertilization happens today. So from today to 2 months, it is being called as embryo. After 2 months, it is called as fetus. The developing stage is called as fetus after 2 months. So this embryo starts moving, and it just becoming bigger in size and gets fixed here in the uterine wall. And this is something called as implantation. This is called as implantation. So what's that? It is fixing of zygote into uterine wall. So it gets fixed here. Now after it gets fixed here, it needs a nutrition also, and here it is going to share the nutrition of obviously of the mother. So there will be a temporary connections which are actually developed between the mother and the embryo, and that is called as placenta. That is called as placenta. So what is placenta? It is a temporary formed tissue. It is temporary formed tissue that provide nutrition to growing embryo. So this is actually the connections which is going to a connection between the blood vessels. Actually you can say that the connection of the blood vessels between the fetus, the embryo, and the mother uterine wall, so that it can actually get the nutrition from the mother's body. And the point of the connection of placenta with the fetus is the umbilical cord, which persists. You know that when a baby is born, the umbilical cord is cut and it persists in the child as a navel. So that is an umbilical cord from where the child gets the nutrition. So you should remember that it gets, umbilical cord is a cord from which or you can say by means of which placenta is actually connected to the fetus. So this is what is a placenta occurring. Then it remains here for a certain period, and in which it gets transformed into a fully grown baby. That means fetus undergo various changes, all organs develop, and it transforms into a fully grown baby, and that is called as gestation period. That is called as gestation period. As in us, in humans, it is of 9 months. You know that it is exactly 9 months 9 days. So gestation period is a period in which zygote transforms into fully grown fetus. When the zygote transforms into a fully grown fetus means that the fetus is fully developed and it is ready to be delivered. So from the time of the fertilization to the time it is being delivered out, that time period is 9 months of 9 months 9 days in us, and it is called as gestation period. It varies from species to species. And after that, when it is fully grown, then parturition occurs. Then what happens? Parturition. That is expelling fully grown baby from mother's womb. So when the fetus is fully developed, the vaginal wall actually get there is a contraction of the uterine wall, and it is being expelled from here, from the vaginal tract, and it is delivered out, and it is now called as a baby. So a newly born baby, you can say. So these are the events that actually occur after ovulation. So I think you got it. First there has to be puberty, then the event is ovulation, and then the fate of ovum is just decided that whether the fertilization is going to occur or it remains unfertilized. So if it get fertilized, then in case of ovulation, after copulation occur, followed by fertilization, then fixing, implantation, then the connections, that is the placenta, then the period where it develops from zygote into fully grown baby, and then the expelling process, that is the parturition. So this is what is a fate of the ovum if it gets fertilized. But what if it remains unfertilized? Then what happen? As we know that, I'm just going to draw here again the structure. Let's say that you know that approximately in ovaries 1 to 14 days are is taken by the egg to get mature. So that means 1 to 14 days are required for the maturation of the egg. And after the egg gets matured, it is on the 14th day, you can say, like 1st to 14th day it is developed actually. On 14th day it is being ovulated, so that means it is released here. So 1 to 14 days required for the formation, and on the very 14th day, the same one, it is being ovulated. And it since the time of the ovulation, I told you that uterine wall starts becoming thicker and thicker. So here it remains from 14th to 28th day, it remains here, so that or you can say it is just waiting for the sperm to get get itself fertilized. But if in case it doesn't receive a sperm, then at that case what happened? And with the passage of the time, that means with these 14 days, the uterine wall start becoming thicker, because they are preparing themselves to hold a baby against gravity. So you know that it becomes approximately 10 times thicker than its original thickness. So then at what happens actually on 28th day? On 28th day, this egg with all the blood vessels, everything which is formed here, is just burst out, and it is bleeded out through vagina in the form of blood, and this is called as vaginal bleeding. And this process is actually called as menstruation. This process is actually called as menstruation. That is the shedding of uterine wall along with the ovum, that is the blood vessels and everything which is being developed here in the form of blood through vagina is called as vaginal bleeding or menstruation. So this is the fate. This occurs if the egg remains unfertilized. So this is the second thing, like if it gets fertilized, then it leads to development of baby, and if it remains unfertilized, everything just vanish, and it is just bleeded out through vagina in the form of blood. And you know that the time it starts, the period when it starts is called as menarche, and the stoppage of this menstrual flow is called as menopause. It starts obviously when the egg formation occurs. So the age when it starts is 11 to 13, that when when a female attains maturity, and menopause is approximately around 50 years of age in females, and after that the female is not you can say capable of producing eggs. So if no eggs, so that means that lady cannot deliver a baby in that case. So this is what is the fate of ovum, and I think you got it. So if you get a question to explain the process of fertilization or the sexual reproduction in females, don't focus on this unfertilized one, just try to explain the fertilization process. You need to sum up all the events in the sequence. This is very much required, that this occur followed by this and this, because there is lot of things are there to mention, but you have to mention them in order, because if you are not mentioning them in order, your examiner is not going to understand that what you are actually going to tell him. So this is what you have to keep in mind, that what kind of question you are getting and how you are going to attempt that. So it matters a lot. So these are the events, just try to sum them up, learn them up, and try to draw a figure also. You should be actually clear with the concepts. So if you get a question like that, explain sexual reproduction in humans, then you're going to explain the male reproductive tract, a little bit of female reproductive tract, followed by these events in sequence. And this you'll be getting that what will happen if the ovum remains unfertilized, then highlight this menstruation process as I told you, but it is not included in your syllabus. But I told you because that must be kicking your mind that what happens actually when the ovum remain unfertilized, because there is a chance that it doesn't get fertilized. So that is why I told you. So just go through it, because in higher classes you will be doing this also, so why not now? So this is what is the sexual reproduction in humans all about, we have done. So just go through it. It's not a difficult one.